Greetings and hello there, everybody. It's me, your beloved Star Wars Dad, Nooch Too Good. And you know, as human beings, all of us, you, me, your mom, your dad, your sister, your brother, we've all got that slant toward the negative, especially when it comes to news, when it talks to coming about the things we love and the things we do and the people we interact with and everything that's going on in the world. We tend to slant toward the negative, and we're attracted toward those big headlines and negative stuff. Capital Games, fix your game, this is broken. That's kind of the theme for today. Or we look at I'm just telling you, you guys know this, bad news sells, but I thought we would take some time here. It's been a little bit of time, a little while since you really sat down and looked at some of the positives of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes and some of the good things that Capital Games does with this game that we all love, to keep it going on a daily basis and to make it interesting and fun for everybody, and to develop a game that is going on 1 decade old. This game is almost 1 full year old, and it really is kind of incredible that it's gone on this long. And you don't get this deep into a game. You don't have a game that goes on for this long and goes through ebbs and flows and players leaving and players coming back and everything. You don't have that if you don't have some good things going on. So today, let's give you 5 things that Capital Games actually does right with Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. I'm going to start it right with number 1. Directed farming and no gacha farming. You guys know that I've been delving into Marvel Strike Force and Raid Shadow Legends, and I don't think there's anything wrong with gacha farming. Yeah, I don't think there's anything wrong with gacha farming, but I've grown accustomed to this game here in front of me where we can make a farming guide and we can say farm these specific players to get to these specific journeys to get a specific character that you want. You can know if you're going to get Lord Vader, you got to go get Hunter and Tech and Wrecker and Tusken Raider. Now, how do you get those guys? You go to specific nodes or specific places where you farm them. You get Grand Moff Tarkin in the Squad Arena shop. You have specific and dialed in places of farming for every single character in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. This is not a game where you open up bronziums. Now, granted, there is a small amount of gacha farming in bronziums. Well, there we go. First one. You open it up, you get 2 shards of Lobot. Congratulations to you and me and to your family. You got a little bit of Lobot on your hands. And who doesn't want a little bit of Lobot? I think with a little bit of Lobot, you might find that perfect screw that you've been missing to hang that perfect picture on the wall with just a little bit of Lobot. I don't know where this conversation is going, but I'm gonna cut it short right now. Anyway, that is the only gacha element of the game, and even with that, these characters in here have directed other, like, important, specific places. 10 Zetas. Oh my goodness. I'm gonna have to take a look at that in a minute. Wow, that looks like not a bad little deal there. Anywho, I really like the fact that Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes is a game that is specifically directed to getting these journeys done by farming specific teams, by farming characters in certain places, and you're building up like team dynamics. I just really like it. I think that's a great part of the game and an important part of the game, and they've really kept the gacha mechanics out of it, and that enables us to build farming guides, to look at efficient ways. You guys know this channel is all about the most efficient way to play this game, and without, if we were just pulling up random characters, I couldn't really address that necessarily, and that's something I'm struggling with in these other games, Marvel Strike Force and Raid Shadow Legends. So yeah, I love that the whole game is directed, focused farming, and I think that that's a really good aspect of Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. My second observation, honestly, they do a really good job with quality of life. I know that there are some complaints sometimes, especially like when Conquest comes around, the amount of time you have to invest in Conquest, and you've got Grand Arena, then you've got Territory Wars, There is a lot going on in the game, but Capital Games has always been aware of the quality of life, and a lot of things have come into the game here in recent years to make the game easier. Galactic War, for I don't know, 6 or 7 years or something, you had to actually play through every single. I don't know if it was that long. Might have been like 5 years, but eventually that became simmable. Even more recently, we look at when the episode track pass came. I think this is at the same time. Today was my events here for my Ultimate Journey events. These aren't that old in the game, and yet They are now simmable. You know, I can sim most of these. I can't figure out this Ray one. I don't know, guys. I've tried the stuff that's out there to get 3 stars. I cannot get 3 stars in this Ray journey. I don't know, man. Tell me what I'm doing wrong. Lord Vader doesn't have an alt yet, but I'm able to sim all of these. There are so many parts of the game that once you complete it once, you can sim it, and that's a good thing. And I also believe that a lot of the parts of the game that are not simmable, like Conquest or looking at grinding out your mods, where you are actually grinding out and farming. You know, you can't build a good set of mods on your roster without just putting in the time and the effort and really putting in the work. You've got to put in the work for mods. And I know that Capital Games views mods as like a delineator, right? The longer you've been playing, the better chance or better opportunity you have to have a lot of really good mods on your roster. And it's a separator. It separates out the newer rosters from the older rosters unless you're willing to invest in those mods. And it's just a big time sink. But when you look at mods, you look at Conquest with the characters you're unlocking. Conquest just ended. The character unlocks you get, the data crons you're farming. That is all the stuff that you're grinding. But so much other stuff in this game is simmable and has become more and more simmable. You can do the sims over time. And I think they've done a really good job with balancing that quality of life while also having stuff that you're grinding in the game without us spending all day in the game. And I think they're also finding their target audience there, right? This is not a game for, I'm going to say, the younger set. Now, if you're younger and you're playing the game, that's great. We welcome you. We love you guys. I'm your Star Wars dad. I'm so glad to have you here. But I think the majority of the games, and if I look at like my viewership, I'm right in that 25 to 45 is kind of my demographic, right? So 25 years old to 45 years old, that is people with some disposable income, but with not a lot of disposable time on their hands. These people are in school, these people are working jobs, raising children, going to baseball game, going to kids ball games, the kids recitals, the kids whatever. You've got things going on in your life, and I think Capital Games has done a really good job over time of sprinkling in the quality of life adjustments as the game has advanced. So I'm going to say that they really do quality of life really well, and they're always looking for more ways to advance quality of life in the game and make it something that you can play for as little as 15 minutes a day, or you can spend, a couple hours on the game, 2 to 3 hours on the game if you really want to every single day. My next thing to bring up here, I'm going to say new player accessibility. The game has become more and more and more accessible and ready to play, ready to jump in there and just start playing for new players over the last 2 years, 2-ish years, is that right? Since they first made level 85 quick. Yeah, I think maybe it's 1 year since that. That's 1 year. 1 year. Over the last year plus, the game has really become accessible to new players. And I know, when you open up a new account, I've done this a few times now, it's 2 to 2.5 weeks to get to level 85, which is max level. You are playing Grand Arena in 2 to 2.5 weeks. You're doing Conquest in 2 to 2.5 weeks. You're unlocking all of the basic game modes in the game within the first few weeks of playing the game. And I think that was such a positive change, especially for people that are coming back to the game or picking up the game for the first time. And if you're doing it free to play, it's now more accessible than ever for you to come in and play the game and get ready to start actually playing with your toys, taking the characters you're farming, going into. You guys are watching me do it right now. I'm deep into Grand Arena on my free to play. Well, not deep, I'm in Carbonite, but you know the deal. I've been playing Grand Arena since like week 3 on my brand new account, free to play. And not to mention that, there's also the $10 Hyperdrive bundle, which is a pretty new. Oh, I'm in the wrong place. The Hyperdrive bundle for years. I don't have it on this account. Let me get to an account where I have the Hyperdrive bundle. There it is, the Hyperdrive bundle, $9.49, $10 on if you're playing it mobile. This when it first came out, I don't know, 7 years ago, was $100. Then it was reduced to $50 forever, and now they permanently reduced this to $10. So new players can really advance themselves through the game, not only getting level 85 quickly free to play, but getting all these characters, all these ships, all these resources for $10. I mean, this is hundreds of dollars of resources when you look at the economy of the game and what it's done over time. I remember when this first came out and it cost $100, and people were saying, yeah, even if you just get the resources that are in here, it's worth $100. So this thing at $10, A great way to make the early game accessible to new players to get to level 85 as fast as possible, get those teams leveled up, get you some ships. I mean, get you some ships here that you can use in Fleet Arena. That's where, as free-to-play, I'm struggling more than anything because everybody got the Hyperdrive bundle and I didn't. But I just want to applaud Capital Games. I think they did a really good thing with the early game quests that were out there, with launching more characters like more Phoenix with Captain Rex, more bounty hunters, more of the characters that we need and can really get us to use the game. It's been a great way to really make the new player experience much more pleasant and accessible in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And tied in pretty closely to that are the roster catch-up mechanics that are now in the game. We've been talking about this for, it's been almost 2 years since the Lightspeed bundles first came out, and while we don't have any Lightspeed bundles right now, and I don't know, are they gonna go? I can't see them going away, but oh no, we don't even have any Lightspeed tokens in the shop right now. I was gonna show off some Lightspeed tokens. I can get one. Hang on a second. Well, look at this. What is this? Chase Chewbacca? Well, this is a small example. This thing is $5, and it has 100 shards of Boba Fett, Cad Bane, Dengar, Bosk, IG-88. You can chase Chewbacca, or you can chase the Executor with this. Granted, there's Lightspeed bundles that will be out that'll be more valuable than this at some point. Maybe not till the end of the year, whenever they come out again. But $5 for all of this would have been unimaginable 2 years ago. Completely unimaginable. And that's a catch-up mechanic. I'm not telling everybody to go out there and buy this stuff. You know, assuming they're not getting rid of Lightspeed bundles, you know, those still aren't great deals because you get a lot of those characters at relic levels for like $20, although we'll see how that works in the future. Kind of sniffing something coming up. We'll see. But Lightspeed tokens are in the game now. These are in the shop, or were in the shop for a little while. You can get these characters at Relic 1 and 5 stars for buying the Episode Pass. By the way, the Episode Pass is another really great way to make the game accessible. If people buy the Episode Pass, which you see in my free-to-play account, I haven't bought it, you get a lot of extra resources and rewards for spending $20 in the Episode Pass, which was, you know, War Pass or whatever. A lot of games have this available. We never had it before. It's been out for less than a year. It's a big add to the game. So I just think that the roster catch-up mechanics with Lightspeed bundles that we've all seen in the game, where you can buy these teams for cheap, and also the Lightspeed tokens that are now out, just different ways for players and cheaper ways for you to get in there, buy the stuff, get the gear, buy the Zetas. If you want to spend some money on the game, you can spend it in really targeted ways and really get your roster caught up pretty darn fast, although you still got to farm a bunch of Zetas or get a bunch of Zetas on the roster, and that's your big catch-up now in Star Wars Galaxy Heroes. And finally, but not least importantly, in fact, I think this is the most important thing that Capital Games has done a good job of and continues to do a good job of in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. Every team and character has a purpose and a use inside this game. Trust me when I say that, because when I pop out once every year and a half with a video that says you don't need these characters, the entire world jumps on my back and says, you need all these characters for rote platoons. Here's our rote platoons right now. It's in process at the moment. You know, you need Ugnaught for rote platoon, R9, blah, blah, blah. Okay, great. But you don't need them for those. I mean, that's like a few people on your roster, but we get it. Every team and every character in this game has some level of usage. A couple years ago, we got a few lifters to really lift up some side teams like Zori Bliss, like Captain Rex. The Comeuppance did an okay job, but we are delivered lifters for characters and teams all the time. Sometimes those lifters become their own team, like Darth Bane, but they're constantly looking at ways to give us lifters. And in fact, Conquest, you know, half the time, it's becoming half the time now. Half the time it's about farming for whatever farms around the corner. Half the time it's about lifters for existing teams. They are constantly putting out lifters. Luthen was a lifter for an existing team. It is a really good move by Capital Games to have teams that are usable for assault battles, for for Grand Arena, Territory Wars. The Omicrons make them available for different places in the game. We've got rogue platoons. We have, and they made, so Rise Empire Territory Battles, one of the big designs that they put in here was adding these extra planets. So they made this thing scalable, right? So you can always add in extra planets to give us more stuff to do. And as they add those extra planets, they make teams like Jedinat Cal Kestis and the Ufus with Sir Junda and Young Cal Kestis. They make teams like Bo-Katan Mandalore that much more valuable in the game. And I do think, and I don't, it's tough for me to see an argument that this is not the best thing about Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And yes, teams have more use early and less use late, or yet less use early, or less availability early and more availability late. Every team in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes, in the right situation or with the right mod set, Omicron or Datacron that might be out for just, 4 weeks. Is that when they're out? 4 weeks? Whatever. Every team has its place in Star Wars Galaxy of Heroes. And when you're in a game that's all about farming specific teams and characters in specific places in the game, and not about gacha, and a game, I don't even know how to say it exactly. I just think this has been such a great improvement. I think this really started, I know assault battles are out there, but I think this mindset really changed when they took the crystals off of Squad Arena and put them into Grand Arena. And I know we all say we like the previous round. I love the previous iteration of Grand Arena. It was more fun for all players. The way Grand Arena works now, there's a lot of drag to it. You get out there, you're playing giant rosters, whatever. But when that changed and the Grand Arena format changed, we started to see the ability to build in use for every single character in the game, as opposed to one team at a time at the top of Squad Arena. Everybody else is trash, right? So to me, this is the best thing they've done in this game. And as you look at other games, that's not the case. You have games where, and I'm not going to name names, we know names, games where the newest team that comes out is always the best team, and there's a new team every 3 to 4 weeks. Holy cow, slow down a little bit. Give me a time to breathe. I have no time to catch my breath here until there's a new meta in the game. There is no, aside from ships, I should say, aside from the fleet meta, there's no real solid defined meta in this game. And even with fleets, we're always coming up with ways to counter these things, playing with an endurance and Lando counter to the Leviathan. Sheer genius from this community. So I think these are the teams that the things they've done best with this game. The directed farming, no real gacha in the game, quality of life improvements and paying attention to the quality of life. New player accessibility is really great in Galaxy of Heroes now. You're looking at the roster catch-up mechanics are tremendous. And then finally, every team and character has its place in the game. Don't try to tell people differently or they will tear up your comments and tell you don't know what you're talking about. Everybody, let me know what you think Capital Games does well. I'd love to hear from you. We'll see if anybody watches this, since it's not a big call out and not a big negative video. I don't know, maybe we'll get half the normal views. I'd love to see this getting tremendous amounts of views. Let's give kudos where kudos are due. Capital Games has done a really good job developing this game over time, even though sometimes it breaks a little bit and needs to be fixed. Hey, have a great day, guys. I'll talk to you soon, and always remember, Nooch too good.